Okay, so the first time that we're running benchmark, I like this. And this is with my 7mm Mauser. These are spear, hollow point boat tail, 145 grain. And these are loaded out to the recommended 3 inches exactly. And this is 34 grains. This middle one's going to be 35, and the last one's going to be 36. A very, very narrow range of charges. And basically what we're doing is proofing as well as just working up a load, but we're going to have to get far more precise with our charges. But this, I mean, if this is as best as it does, I'll be slightly disappointed, but also be happy because you've seen the groups that this rifle does. And this is, I mean, I'm aiming right here, boom, straight 12 o'clock from that. I like it. So we got 35 and 36 to do. Let's see how it does. Nice. So I might finally have a replacement for BLC2 for this rifle. So let's see if 36 grains tightens up even more. I have a feeling it's going to scatter. But we won't know until we actually find out. So I called it. It did open up. But actually, it doesn't look too much different from the first group. Wow. But these are with Federal primers. I also loaded these up, come on, with Winchester primers. So let's see if they do just as good. I really hope so. Trying to block the wind. This is with Winchester match primers, and it's actually a very similar group. Not quite as horizontal, a little bit more of a triangle shape. That still isn't bad, because I think the minimum charge is probably the worst of the 3 for the other group. We still have 2 more strings to fire. Let's get through them. Now, what's interesting to me is how much similar this group is to this one. We have that same kind of similar triangle shape, but the point of impact shifted very similarly to what the other one did. So I think it's going to stay roughly the same in terms of group size. Maybe it might scatter a bit, but I think that it's going to move more outward. So I'll have to pay very close attention to my before and after pictures and see if we can trace the targets, because I have a feeling we're going to get some off the paper. Okay, so I'm both surprised and not surprised, and this is 36 grains of benchmark. I'm surprised because, well, the change of the point of impact, it's actually pulled in, whereas previously the trend was to just go more out towards my point of aim. Now, where I'm not surprised is we have a scattering of the group. So what tells me is that regardless of the primer, the charge weight of the powder is very important. And sadly, the best one that we got here, the 35 grains, well, of just the 6 groups that we fired, I'm running out of those Federal match primers. So I guess I'll have to order more. But I really would have liked it if the Winchester match would have pulled together a pretty decent group. But you want to know something? All of these hit paper, all of them are like within 4 inches. Like for that rifle, that's actually really good. So let's do some more tuning and let's see what we can do. Okay, so here we have benchmark and 7mm Mauser again. And for this, I'm working up a load. I'm refining a load. And I'm doing it in 0.2 grain increments. So previously when it came out, 35 grains seemed to be pretty good. That was when we're mostly just like proofing our charges, making sure that what was the minimum and what was the maximum was actually true. And 35 grains, however, happened to do really, really well. So what I did is I loaded up 5 sets and I worked up 0.2 grains each. This is 34.6. And that verticality, you can see it's more or less in the same area, but it does seem to be a bigger group. Over here, we have 34.8, and you can see it's quite similar. Might actually be better. I'll have to compare the footage. Now, here's something interesting. Pardon me, it makes me want to blame myself and say I pulled the shot or something, because we have 2 overlapping here, which, you know, that happens. And then we have this right over there. And it really struck me as curious, but I did use my Lyman beam scale, so maybe that might be the deciding factor. But this is why sometimes you have to take each group in relation to one another. Look at this one. This is 35.2, and you can see it's spread out as well, and it's very horizontal. So I felt that was a good shot. Probably was a good shot. So the change in the scales is the only thing that I can really see that separates them. But you want to know something? I'll probably load up some more just to triple confirm. But lastly, so yeah, 35.2. And you can see the point of impact is still changing towards the upper right, just like we did before. So we have that confirmed. And this is 35.4. And again, a little bit more to the upper right. But curiously, the group shrank. So whether that's coming across kind of another accuracy node or what have you. And what's interesting is that might actually be the better group. So this is all part of the fun and games overloading. One thing I want to point out though is the group is not too much better than the best group that we did with 49.55. But we'll get out the micrometer, we'll find out for sure. Okay, 7mm Mauser with the Nosler Custom 168 boat tail hollow point. And this is with a benchmark. I might have repeated myself. Whatever. Anyway, so the first group, which is 33.5 grains. Not bad. Not bad at all. And this is the next step up. This is, again, we're going at full grain increments. This is basically proofing the powder, seeing what the maximum charge is and what really works out. From there, we kind of refine things. That's how I decided to do my load development on YouTube. Anyway, so 34.5. It actually looks like it loosened up a bit. I'll have to take the targets back and measure them really to be sure, but definitely it's more horizontal as opposed to this one's a lot more vertical. This one, the next step up, 35.5, is a lot more vertical, and you can see where I squared to them, outlined them rather, I guess I should say, with squares. And the next one I haven't fired yet, but it's only half grain up. This is the maximum charge. I might still have room because I did pull the load data from the Hodgdon online reloading center, which everyone says is, you know, a little light on the charges, but they need to accommodate for the different sorts of brass. So whatever, we'll go from there. But this is their listed maximum. That's what we're sticking with, and this is why we work up a load. So anyway, let's see how this does. But I did want to note that it's only a half grain increase from our previous one, so that's why I made a video here. I imagine that we're going to see a group up here, and I think it's probably going to open up a bit more. We'll see if the verticality stays the same or not. And here we go. Here's 36, the maximum charge, and you can see I was basically right. We saw that the point of impact did, well, I mean, overall it went up, but it also spread out a lot more. So I guess the verticality did increase. And I'm checking to see if there's any keyholing. I noticed that on the lightest charge, this is definitely a keyhole, which kind of Angers me a bit, but I mean, it is what it is. We just have to deal with it. It could be maybe it was a very light charge, but I'm not seeing any keyholing anywhere else, which makes me really happy. So definitely it looks like the lighter end, so somewhere between the 33.3 and the 33.5, that's where we have to work with. Maybe even above. Sometimes you do have to just push it just a little bit more to get those nodes, I'll go ahead and say, to shrink up. Whether it's a accuracy node or velocity node, well, we'll need a chronograph for that, which is something I plan on implementing soon. But anyway, so that's benchmark and 7mm Mauser. Okay, so I got a lot of randomness going on here. Well, first off, turns out they changed what days they're doing events out here at the range, so I got bumped over to the other range, but I'm okay with that. Also, the thunder gods are angry, so I'm racing against time. Still have a couple hours here, but a thunderstorm is supposed to roll in. But anyway, let us explain what we got going on here. Okay, so I recently tried benchmark. I really like it, especially for the 7mm Mauser. Everything just seems to shoot better with it. And so I'm trying the 145 grain Speer hollow point boat tail bullets, and we're using the 150 grain load workup for it because better play it safe than sorry. So it's going to be 34, 35, and 36 grains, and I'm going to be firing 4 shots of each. This one was just used for practice for bullet seeding, because this is with my Norma brass, and I wanted to see how the seeding die affected it, because that's been an issue with my Forster seeding die. But you can see here, although there's that little ring, it is just a blemish, not a deformation, so we're happy with that. Now, we're going to also try our nemesis. Whoop, nope, those are warm-up shots. This is our nemesis, the Speer Grand Slam, the 145 grain ones, and we have these loaded to 3 inches. Yeah, you can see it has another blemish there, but it is just a blemish. I feel no deformation. So we're going to see how well benchmark does with these, and these have been terrible. These often keyhole, and I've even got some groups that are like 10 inches. It's awful. So we're going to see how well benchmark does with these. And these, I just used that Hornady brass because I'm not expecting much for performance out of it. I'm not too worried about getting the absolute best group that I can out of these. These are mainly hunting rounds, so I think Speer's quality control has, you know what? That's pure speculation. Let's leave that out of this. But here is the star of today. These are Sierra's Game Changers. I'm using my Nosler brass, and these are basically their tipped Game Kings, but do the marketing, yeah, they gave them a different name. I could be wrong, there could be other differences, but to me they're tipped Game Kings, but I think they're called Total Game Changers. Anyway, they just have a ballistic tip, and you can see the Forster seeding die still put a little bit of a ring on there, but it is just a ring. It is not a deformation, so I'm really happy there. But I'm really eager to see how these do, because I use IMR 3031, and I can't remember how many grains, but this is what I use for hunting. So if this can top 3031, I'll be very happy. Not a bad start at all. So this is 34 grains of benchmark for the Speer Grand Slam and 145 grain. Like, is it the best group? No. But I'm not complaining. Like, it also shoots it's a very light recoil. This actually might be too light of a load. Anyway, we have 2 more, 35, 36. Let's get through them. Let's see how they do. Oh, hey, look at this. It's a keyhole. So this is 35 grains of benchmark. 1, 2, 3, 4. So even a great powder with a shitty bullet. Sorry, Speer. Doesn't do much. But thing is, notice how this was a keyhole. The rest of them, which are acceptably grouped together, because actually this 3 hole group isn't too different from this one. It is noticeably more opened up, but this flyer here, we'll go and call it a flyer. It's definitely because it was keyholing for whatever reason. Honestly, I do blame the bullet. So let's see how the last charge does. Happened again. So this is actually a really nice group, but I fired 4 shots. Where is the 4th shot? Up here. And look again, it's a keyhole. So at least we're getting better consistency, but yeah, I'm guessing that my rifle just doesn't like flat-based bullets as a general rule. However, the Hornady 175 grains did perfectly fine, so that's a bummer. Anyway, so we got to mark these off, and now we're going to move on to Spears hollow point boat tails. Let's see how they do. This is both 34 and 35 grains. 34, I only see 3 hit out of the 4. This is there before. I don't know where the 4th shot went. I honestly don't. So I'm guessing it probably shot way up and over. That's the only thing I can think of, other than it might be an overlap, but I don't think so. Actually, let's see, the upper right 3. I'll show you the back. So that's from previous one, but it would be these 3 shots right there. And they're all single bullet holes. So I honestly don't know where it went. Anyway, but 35, 1, 2, 3, 4, starting the rain. So I have to hurry up and do number 6. I have to hurry up and do number 6 because Mother Nature is about to boot us out. So let's take a look at the last group. 36 grains, a benchmark. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is actually, that's opened up. 35 grains pretty much looks like the most accurate, which is a change from the 145 grains Grand Slam. Not that this is a direct comparison because I use different brass anyway, but I still just wanted to give benchmark a try with some other bullet types. And as you can see, it's raining. The thunder gods are angry. So, oh, apparently even that frog over there is angry. Anyway, time to pack up, go home. This is just going to be a short little comparison video because here in the middle we have Hodgdon's benchmark, and you can see here it's short little extrusions. I'm even having a hard time picking it up, but probably because I'm looking through the phone camera. Anyway, short little extrusions, small diameter, small length, but it is very uniform. Like this would probably meter very well. So you could probably put this into a mechanical measure rather than, electronic measure. Wow. Probably work well in both. But either way, very uniform, very impressed with it. Now here's something, this is IMR 3031. So charge weights are very similar. The burn rate is very similar, but don't you dare try to use them interchangeably. That's a bad plan. But you can see that IMR, it might be slightly bigger in diameter, but it's about twice the length. So this probably wouldn't meter quite as well. Either way, it's an oldie but goodie. But this is IMR Enduron 4166. Again, very uniform, but it too is kind of a short extrusion, but probably wouldn't do quite as well in a mechanical measure. But benchmark probably would. Shame I don't have one. I have to fix that. Anyway, I've been very impressed with Hodgdon's benchmark. I haven't even tried it for my other rifles yet, but I might go ahead and just buy an 8-pound container of this because I know that's going to be put to good use.